on my phone to go on Facebook, and then use my tablet to go on YouTube. I've been doing it the flip way all along. So this is the first week. And part of it is because I'm battling the sun again. But I'm working on a fix. I know I am supposed to be doing, I did part of a partial tour of my little sheet shed space, but I have some changes that we're going to be making in here, and so I'm excited about that. Hopefully you'll see some changes. We'll see before week 12, which is next week, which is our final week for the live journaling with Trish. You probably can hear my fan in the background because I'm still having heating and air issues in this space, so we've got to get that worked out. We're going to do some treatments on the windows to kind of help with the sun control. So just stay tuned. We fixing it up, getting it together, and then I can show you guys some pieces. We do have some new pieces that are coming to Trish's Treasure. I'm so excited about. We're going to be releasing those on June 1st. So make sure if you're on Etsy already, go to Trish's Treasure Finds, and you will find me. If you put in Trish's Treasure, you'll probably find me. But my shop is called Trish's Treasure Finds. And just to give a disclaimer right there, the only reason why I had to change the name of the spelling of Trish and use a Y versus an I, because Trish with an I is overly looked and is very seldom available. So even when I did Trish's Treasures with the TRI Treasures as well as the TRYSH Treasures, it was taken. So somebody had the same idea that I had, and so then it had to appoint me and assign me Trish's Treasures Finds. So that's how I ended up with that name. I've got logos, I've got everything already in that, so maybe another year or two I'll rebrand it and give it a different Trish's vibe on it. For right now, it is what it is. But yeah, thank you and welcome everyone who is joining me today. I have, let me see, be sure to like and share. Okay, I'm trying to make sure I have this because I haven't mixed. I have YouTube here this week and I have Facebook Live here. All right, so I do want to welcome you guys. Hope you had a very peaceful and safe holiday, extended holiday. I know mine, I got a lot of rest. I needed a lot of emotional rest, and so my body told me to shut it down, and I did exactly what my body told me to do. So I had a very good, long, extended weekend, last weekend, that has also rolled into this week. Still chilling and hanging out. I think that's pretty much all of the announcements. Next week is week 12. That is our final week with our Becoming Her live journaling with Trish. Not sure what I'm going to do next. You guys can leave some suggestions if you like. Even if it's continuing on with journaling, I'm fine with that. But what are we going to tackle next? That would be the question. We are getting ready for our tapings. We're going to start taping Trish Standley TV for this year's season, 2026 season, in June 13th. So I will be going live June 13th, so that you can check me out on set. You can check me out when I'm all dolled up and made up and looking pretty and all that kind of stuff, because I sure ain't doing it now. My bestie is just signed on. Hey, bestie. But yeah, so look for that to happen. And on June 13th, when I do go live, we will be announcing our Queen for a Day 2026 recipient. And so I will be sharing that information with you guys as well. All right, so we're on week 11 in our journaling prompt book. And the title for this week is Purpose. We've gone through, and I'll do this next week, it being our last week, which is the 12 weeks. I will go back and just give us a review of all the previous weeks and what we talked about, just to refresh your memory. Again, remember, all you have to do is go to trishstanley.com and go scroll all the way down to the bottom. When you see this at the bottom, just fill out the contact sheet, and I will forward you the free link to get this prompt book, because it is what it is. We are about becoming a better her. We're about healing and growing at this point in this stage and phase in our life. And remember, the main reason why I did this particular prompt book for journaling is because I need us to understand as women, I trust the woman I'm becoming because I keep the promises to myself. And I found out in doing some of the speaking opportunities that I've had that is where we get caught up in. We make promises to everyone else in our lives. Of course, we're going to do it to our children. Of course, we'll do it to our significant others and extended family members. But how often do you keep promises to yourself? And we like to wrap them in, those promises, in New Year's resolutions. But we know that New Year promise at the beginning of the year, it has to manifest and weave itself throughout our daily, weekly, monthly lives in order for us to reach the goal that we intend to reach by the end of the year. So that's why a lot of people don't really like New Year resolutions, because by the end of January, definitely by mid-February, we've fallen off. And so this journal is a journal that you can utilize, that you can stick with, and you can go 12 weeks of creating a new habit in your life, in your journey of healing. And that's what life is about. It's about evolving and growing and trying to leave up out of here way better than the middle part. We're not held accountable when we're children, when we're teens. We only start taking accountability once we become young adults, and then we're trying to figure out not just who we are, which is the biggest hurdle, but what is this world and how are we going to fit into it. So by the time we get to the place where we are midlife, then that is where we should be able to think life is slowing down a little bit. Our children or young adults are not as self-sufficient, or not as dependent, I should say, on us. And so we have a lot more time to free up so that we can work on ourselves and do the work that we need to do to become better people. We want to be not just looking good on the outside, because that means a lot as well. We want to still look good. But we want the inner to match the outer. And let me tell you how much more beautiful the outer is when the inner is in order and it's working itself out. It's healing, and it is taking the good from ourselves and expounding that, but it's also taking the bad of ourselves that we recognize and self-reflect and want to work on and chip away at fixing, so that we can be better parents, better spouses, better co-workers, better friends, better sisters, brothers, relations, grandchildren. We can go on down the whole line. We want to be better people when we leave up out of here, at least on the pursuit of being that. So with all of that being said, we are on week 11, which is our next to the last week of this series, and it's titled Purpose. And so I put this later in the weeks, which it could have gone to the beginning, then I like it in the end. But the reason why I struggle with that is because sometimes when you're trying to really work out who you are and becoming one and getting comfortable in your own skin, it isn't always, we don't always know our purpose in the beginning. But as we do some work, and we begin to do work, and we begin to self-reflect, and we begin to pray, and we begin to meditate, and we begin to become one in our quietness within ourselves, then that's when those things, that heaviness of what is my purpose, that's when those questions are better answered. So that's why I struggled with it in the beginning, but I settled with it being at the end, if not the end. It couldn't be the end, but it's the next to the last week to the end, because we've learned so much up to this point. And like I said before, even if you're still working on week 3, that's okay. However long it takes you, this is just your jump start into your journey with journaling and putting down your thoughts and your feelings, and even ideas. This is what this whole purpose of this prompt book for journaling has been about for me. This is what I wish and want you all to have and possess when you finish week 12. So week 11 is purpose. And of course, every session when you're sitting down, I would like for you to start out with, how am I feeling today? Where is my headspace? What kind of day has this been for me? Write that down, whether it was good, bad, ugly, indifferent, it's a blah day, write that down. And then we have our prompts. At least 4. And so the first prompt for this week, week 11, under purpose, is what impact do I hope my life leaves on others? What is it you want your life to say and speak about you, even beyond your life, even beyond your breathing, your hearing? What do you want the world to know about you, and what is your life currently saying? And how would you like for your life to speak for you in your afterlife? That's number 1. What impact do I hope my life leaves on others? The second one is, how do my experiences equip me to help someone else? That's one of the advantages I've had in doing the talk show, is I've had a lot of different people, a lot of different stories come across my path, and I've been graced enough to be able to sit down and talk to many of them. And a lot of times we think that what we're going through, no one else can relate to, or it's just too common. Everybody goes through divorce. Most people go through divorce. Nobody's going to be able to relate to my particular story in divorce, or being a single parent, or whatever it is. But you cannot get locked up into that, because your story is still unique to you and to the people you are assigned and purposed to speak to inspire. Hey guys, I see you guys speaking. Hey guys, it's unique to the people you're assigned to. Everybody isn't assigned to be on the big stage to be able to give and share their message. There's a lot of small stages. There's plenty of space for small stages where people in your story can really glean, help, and grow someone else. So what do my experiences equip me to help someone else? That isn't a burden. I ain't got to go and do all this studying. This is just naturally what I've gone through and what I'm living. Okay? The next prompt is, what cause or issue deeply moves my heart? That taps so much into your purpose. If you know what really, if you could just, and I know it's cliche, but if it's some particular thing that you could do, some act of service that you could perform that you did not and would not ever have to be paid to do, what is that? Write that down. That's tied to your purpose, if you don't know what your purpose is. And the last prompt is, how can I serve from a place of healing rather than exhaustion? Because we learned in our week where we talked about rest, we talked about vision. In those previous weeks, we talked about being able to serve and operate in an area, a specific area, not out of exhaustion. We're not to the point where we're exhausted, because that's out of order. When you're working something beyond the vein of where you're able to rest and be one with yourself, you're out of order, and you just might be operating in areas where you're not called to operate in. Those are things to consider. And so those are the 4 prompts. Just briefly repeating, what impact do I hope my life leaves on others? 2, how do my experiences equip me to help someone else? 3, what cause or issue deeply moves my heart? What am I most passionate about? And how can I serve from a place of healing rather than exhaustion? And then the reflection is always the same. What truth surfaced for me during this reflection? And these are the promises to myself this week. 1 promise I will keep to myself this week concerning my purpose. It could be I'm in the pursuit of it. So I will sit down in quietness and become one with myself and really meditate and try to figure out, what is it that I'm most passionate about? What do I believe my passion, and how do I feel like this particular area connects with my passion. It's just figuring out. It could be figuring it out. But one promise that you plan to keep to yourself for this week, what is that? I always want you to end it out with, I am worthy of my own love and commitment. The same way that you are willing to make promises and keep commitments in other relationships in your life, you have to be open and willing to do that for yourself. You are no good. Even as hard as you go for other people in your life, think about how much more and further you could go, and how you could reach so many more if you were 100% true and committed to your own healing and keeping promises to yourself. It's deep, y'all. I promise you it is deep. And remember to pray, and in your praying, you want to be quiet. You want to find a safe, quiet space where you can be quiet and you can not just talk to God, but you can receive from God. Don't be like me, and only the best time he can speak to you is at night in your dreams when you sleep, because he'll do it, because he's going that's that ram in the bush. However, he would love for us to just bask in his presence, in the quietness of him, so that we can hear his voice clearly and get our next direction, because that is where our direction comes in this journey of becoming her. As I shared before, our last week is week 12. Guys, thank you so much for hanging in here with me. Week 12. I cannot believe I kept this promise to myself. I cannot, because this used to be so uncomfortable for me. It was more comfortable for me to be cute, dressed up with the heels and all of that, and talking to somebody else about their issue and not my own. And so I thank you guys for hanging out with me and being a part of this journey. I love you. I love you. I love you. These will be available on both YouTube. I know Facebook now does it. It's only up for so long, but connect with me on YouTube, Trish Standley TV, for week 1 all the way to week 12 in this whole process of becoming her journaling. Next week is our last week, and of course the title of that week is Becoming. We've done the work. We've done everything that we've written it down. We've written the visions down, and we've made it plain. And now it's time to walk that thing out. And maybe that's phase 2. We'll look at that. But we've done all of the work mentally, physically, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. We've done the work. Now it's time to walk out what we've written about. And that's what journaling is all about. That's how we heal, and that's how we get better. But I thank you guys. I made it under 30 minutes, and I've been able to do that for the full 12 weeks, and I'm so proud of myself even for that as well. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. I cannot wait until next Thursday when we talk about becoming, and we just do a small recap of all the previous weeks. Again, connect with me on Trish Standley, trishstanley.com. Reach out to me, DM me, comment here if you want the link. It's a free link, no cost to you at all, for the journaling prompt of becoming her. I love you guys. As I always sound off, love isn't love unless you give it away. So give some love away, even to yourself. See y'all next week, God willing. Take care.